Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, truth be told, the reason I kind of look like that is when I said Friday, it's actually Thursday. It's Thursday morning. This is the third video I'm making this morning. And I want to explain to you, I'm going to give you the timeline on how I came up with this video. And I kind of just blew my whole workout to heck this morning because I thought about this. I'll tell you how I thought about this video. And I started digging up the old pictures, the actual like Polaroids of what happened to me. So many things happened in the 2.5 decades that I was using that I still am remembering stuff that happened. The reason I'm talking about this is because this morning, all of a sudden, I'll tell you how I remembered this. All of a sudden, I realized what the place I was at back like 25 years ago when this happened, and I didn't want to be around anymore. I was praying that I wouldn't wake up every morning. It was a terrible feeling. I wasn't talking to my family. I was actually doing pretty good with money, but not in a legal way. I was in a terrible place, and I was making these decisions that would put me in harm's way because I think subconsciously or consciously, I was hoping that someone else would end it for me. It's a terrible way to think. And now I look around at what I have. I mean, I am happy every day. The apartment, this place I have, and more than that, the relationship I have with my family now. And I would have never believed that I could get to this place from where I was back then. That's the purpose of this video, because I was in such a bleak, desolate place that I was just hoping that it was the end, that I would cease to exist. And, all right, this is how I came up with this. This is how I remembered this incident. I was actually thinking about Trump and the whole incident that happened at his rally with the attempt on him. And how he stuck his head back up, and how that was odd, the fight thing. And, I was like, if I didn't know better, I'd almost think that he was, he wasn't concerned with his own life like that. Maybe he was a little, I don't want to use the S word, but, that he didn't care if he lived or died. And all of a sudden, I remember when I was actually shot myself. I was actually hit by, I don't know if it was a bullet fragment or a piece of the pavement, and I still have the scar. And I actually found the pictures this morning of when I went to the hospital with this wound in my leg, and it's a grisly wound. I don't know if I could use it in the thumbnail. I'm going to see if I can modify it to use it in the thumbnail. Like I said, the purpose of this video is to make a point that recovery is possible. The place I was at then and to where I am now, I would have never believed it was possible, and that's why I'm making this video. Okay, at this time, it was about 25 years ago, and I was living in the city of Waterbury, Connecticut, the fourth largest city, and I had made acquaintances with people a little higher up in the chain of distribution, let's say, of Columbia's finest. And I was very close with two Cuban twins. These two, I don't know if they're still around or they're still alive today. They were twins. I'm not going to say their name. I'm tempted to say their names. And they were from Cuba. And they were doing very well, moving large amounts of this product. And I thought it was really cool that I had gotten in with them. And I was going to meet, kind of broker a deal in Southington, Connecticut at a Burger King back 25 years ago. And I pulled in the parking lot, and me and my Cuban friend were waiting for the other person to show up. And my Cuban friend was leaning against the car. It was nighttime. It was probably about 9 or 10 at night. And he was leaning against the car. I was leaning against my car. And I guess it was somebody else's car. And a car pulled up with these two white gentlemen in it, and they said, "You better get your Puerto Rican ass off my car." If I remember right, that's what they said to him. And I was just watching this happen, and I was like, "What?" I was just watching on in amazement. And my friend just went off. I mean, I didn't know this at the time, but being Cuban, he was very proud of being Cuban, and the implication that he was Puerto Rican is just set him off. And he started to walk towards them, and there was going to be a fight. And I'm watching the guys in the car, and I could see the guy, like you could tell that there was something in his lap, and right off the bat, I knew that he had something dangerous in his lap. And I was closer to that car, so I was like, dude, just calm. I was trying to stop it before it happened, before anything happened. And in the back of my head, honestly, I didn't have any concern for myself. I almost wanted something to happen to me. That's what made me think of this when I saw the video about Trump. Is like I think I wanted somebody else to do it for me, to finish me. So I went up to the car window with these two white gentlemen, and I'm like, look, my buddy, he's just a little tense. There's some stuff going on. I was trying to, I put myself right in the middle of it, which was incredibly stupid. And he puts the piece out the window, and he points it at my friend. I'm standing there, and I could just see the muscles in his arm kind of jerk. And I slap the gun down, and it goes off, and it hits the pavement right at my feet. I don't know if it was a bullet fragment or a piece of the pavement that actually took it. Like I said, I still have the scar. I still have a scar. I don't know if you guys can see that right here. I'll put that. I got the pictures of this. I found the pictures this morning of this. It's a big hole. There was a hole in my leg where the fragment hit me. And the guys got freaked out. This sound just reverberated through the parking lot. I don't know. It's probably like a Glock 9 or something. And they just pulled the gun back in and took off out of the parking lot. My buddy was still ticked off, and he was like in a daze. He was still just standing there all angry and just staring at the car driving away. And I'm like, dude, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here right now. The police are going to be coming. I hop in my car. He hops in his car. I go back to my little town in this area. He goes back to the city. I talked to him on the phone. He calls me up maybe about not even an hour later just to make sure I got home. He got home and everything's safe. And he's all like, dude, you're my brother, man. He says, from now on, you could get anything you want, free of charge. He says, you proved yourself tonight, So, in this, looking back at this, it was the worst thing that could happen to me because it just made my addiction that much worse. What he was saying was I now had access to pretty much all the product I wanted without charge. I had all these benefits, and that just made my life so much worse. When I actually got in between what was happening there, I remember feeling like I was almost hoping that something would happen to me. Like I was just in such a black spot that I didn't want to exist anymore. And I think that, I wasn't being brave. I was actually trying to off myself. I really think in the back of my mind that's what was going on. When this happened, and I look back at the person I was then and who I am now, and it scares me. I mean, I'm grateful. I have gratitude. I would have never believed that I could go almost 18 years now, clean and sober, and rebuild my life, rebuild my credit, bank accounts, my family, great girlfriends who've never used, who have businesses, smart, intelligent women that I've dated. I would have never believed any of this could happen, but I look at the place that I was at, this terrible place where I just didn't even want to exist another day, and this crazy stuff that I would do, put myself in harm's way, and it scares me now because I know that part of me is still in there, that addict is still in there, and if I make bad choices or bad mistakes, I could end up in that place again really quickly. That terrifies me right now. Like I said, I feel a whole range of emotions remembering this incident. But my point is, recovery is possible. I would have never imagined that I would be so happy. And I would have, there's no way I would have believed where I could be where I'm at today when I was back then and in that spot then. And it's possible. I did it. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd, 2006, man. Recovery is possible, and it is a great life. I remember being scared. I remember being hopeless. I could never do it. And now I can't even put into words how grateful I am, how happy I am today. Even my best days are better than any of the days, even my worst days now are better than my best days back then. recovery is possible. Have a good Friday.